Welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophia, piloting to the universe of Chinese. Let's continue unpacking some supposedly equestrian age character. And today is Sai. So yesterday we talked about town, which is more civil life. And today we're talking about fortress, which is more military life over there. So Sai normally is the frontier, is the borderline, is the fortress that's guarding the borderline. And in the context of the Chinese, is because China is a agrarian society. So people near the Yellow River and Yangtze River, the two big rivers in China, they are the kind of the motherland, the original Chinese culture, the center of it. And then to the north to it, Mongolia, on the west Tibet, not so much about Tibet, but I guess Xinjiang, Mongolia, even northeast of China. That's further north. The climate is not really good for farming purpose, and then it becomes the steppe, this big Eurasia steppe, all the way from Turkestan, Turkey, and all the way, all the Stan places, right? They have a distinctively different culture, and they're basically the horse people. We're talking about the horse era now, and they are the people who first tame the horse to domesticate. Not really domesticate. We still use it as transportation, outdoor purpose, or into war as a war tech part of the war technology. Um, the whole um, cavalry, right, is based on horse. So this conflict between the horse people and the farming people is throughout, is like the theme, one of the constant themes throughout history in China. So this site is particularly about those that's position the fortresses that's positioned in northern part of China to provide such a shield, a military barrier for the horse people, like make it harder for them to invade, to ride a horse into the farmlands in China. So this is the context of there are many Chinese poems talking about the site, and it's a harsh living. It's further away from the heart of the Chinese civilization, right? Harsh and also risky as well. So in Game of Thrones, and this I forgot the northern part of the fortress. I would imagine a picture. In reality, in history, and that's probably similar to it's cold, and you have an enemy right beyond the wall, right? You have constantly have a young, abled military force stationed over there to guard um, the civilization different from another civilization. So that's what fortress looks like. How Chinese express that? Okay, we have this big arch and a chimney, so that gives you this space. Um, then we have this two horizontal lines with one vertical line. That's a Chinese engineering or craftsmanship sign. It's the fly square that makes sure things are perpendicular perfectly. So your things are not going to collapse because they are correctly stacking up. When they're using four of them under this big arch, that means these are not just the tools, but these are almost like brick walls that build up with this perfect perpendicular um, structure. And visually, it shows, if you look at this as an arch or as a hallway, this looks like you have a brick wall to build up to, to block this entrance. So this arch means something you can pass through, right? But with this, four of them means many recurring pattern. That is the blocker to prevent the passage through this arch. That's visually what it means. And then you have a left and right three finger hand symbol. So Chinese is a first person perspective. We look at this 2D frame from the reader's viewpoints. So if you look at this arm and this arm reaching in with this three finger hand, that means it is from your perspective, your hand. So this is talking about you are going to use the soil here And you see here, right? This 公 means this fly square thing. That's also two horizontal lines with one vertical line, but it's strictly bordered. The vertical line is not going to poke through any of the lines versus 图, also two horizontal lines, one vertical line, but the horizontal line is going to puncture through the first horizontal line. I wouldn't say it's a small change, it's a big change, and that signifies totally different character, right? So soil symbol, the first one is ground, and then we have the plant growing, and then the second line is the indicator to tell you it's the soil surrounding the plant, the root of the plant, the underground part that we're talking about. So the whole thing refers to soil. So here is your hand using soil or clay as a material to stick into to make a kind of a wall with this rectangular perpendicular structure to block the passage of this big arch thing. And arch simply means a place you can pass through. So that's talking about the construction, the building of such a fortress. So fortress is a blockage, um, as I said, to separate the two civilizations. And it's not only civil engineered blockage, but it's also militarily monitored and also manpowered to respond instantly to invasion or attack. So that's what fortress visually looks like. And then you can see the contemporary versions looks the same and they totally simplified. In the middle, there are so many strokes, right? And then it's simplified. It's connected lines got connected, organized, and keep it as basic structure. And we remove the hand symbol or simplify the hand symbol simply to the two left and right stroke. Like when I'm learning Chinese, I have no clue what this thing is. It turned out it's your left and right hand. It's like you're building it. So because it's your building it, the fortress, of course, is your build. So you own it. It's your fortress to protect you. All right. 塞外江南, we're talking about the fortress, yonder, beyond the fortress. So Chinese have the habit of pointing to the location first and then tell you in relative to that location what we're talking about. So in English, we'll say beyond fortress. We have beyond before fortress, but Chinese would put beyond after fortress, would tell you where that is, fortress, and then tell you in relative to that pinpoint, we'll pin it down first, and then we'll tell you up, under, left, right, or beyond. Okay. And river south. So river south is river. Jiang is Changjiang, the W shape, longest river going through the southern part of China. And that's another source of or center of culture and agriculture. And Jiangnan, south to that river, is even warmer temperature and is even more, have a higher literacy rate, have a higher, I guess, commerce, prosperity. So civilization, it's a way calmer place. And when we say we pair the sci-fi beyond the fortress, which is in northern part of China, and then we pair them with south to the river, the most gentle, beautiful, temperate climate, nice place, then this contrast is actually referring to somewhere beyond the fortress in northern part of China. And well, actually, it may not be beyond because if it's beyond, nobody is going to get beyond the fortress. If it is the land still under the agrarian society's rule, then it will be within, and we'll simply call it a 塞外, like we call it beyond the fortress, but actually it refers to right at the borderline, at the frontier. It's still protected behind that fortress. And the location, the landscape over there, or the civilization, the prosperity over there, the township, the civil life over there is thriving as if it's in the river south of China. 塞翁失马 is another story. It's talking about this old man, grandpa, at the frontier. not necessarily civil. So in this case, it's not a civil, not necessarily military. It's a civilian. So this grandpa lived close to the frontier, lost his horse, and his neighbor would chime in to say, "Oh, too bad! Such a misfortune! You lost your horse." And then the grandpa said, "It's we don't know if it's good or bad. It's too early to say." And then eventually, this one horse lead a group of wild horses, and that's like free money, free fortune to the grandpa, right? And then the neighbor said, "Oh my God, you get so lucky! You have such a smart horse," or something like that. And then the grandpa, "We don't know, but it's too early to say." And then his son trying to train these wild horses to tame them, and then got accident, broke his leg. And the neighbor came in again. Oh, such a bad accident or something like that, right? Always social commentary like that. And then grandpa still take it light, like we don't know if it's good or bad, too early to say. And then the war happens because it's frontier, right? So easy for them to take up weapons to defend their land. And then because of the earlier accident, the broken legged son was not drafted. And that's like good fortune again. So in this story, four things happened. Each time is a twist of fortune. And each time this wise grandpa would not be conclusive about his life's good or bad fortune. He will always say, it's hard to say. He simply have this long-term view to see good or bad in a longer scale of his a bigger or even two generations scale, like you cannot really tell. It's too early to say. And I think that there is a lot of wisdom embedded in that. I love that story. Okay, 昭君出塞is a particular historical event that because of the agrarian society and the horse people, the I guess Nordic civilization, the tribes outside that live on horses, they're not settled down on piece of land because of such conflict throughout the history. So there was this historical event around 30, 40 or 30 BC. Okay, it's like 2,000 years ago. Um, that this agrarian society's ruler, emperor. I mean, the emperor has a big palace. Within a big palace, and many women, wives, concubines, you name it. The ruler it owns everything, right? The whole land, and has a selection of the woman in his household, basically. So one of such girls that's in his household, the big palace, but he never get to see everybody because he's outnumbered by the woman in the household, um, was recruited to be the wife of the horse people's tribe leader. And because of this, I guess it's not in today's term, it's interracial marriage, but it's really inter-tribe. And also on a diplomatic and as a geopolitical alignment deal, that she was able to maintain peace between the horse people and the farm people for a long time. And she was memorized for that. And Chinese created this four character expression specifically to memorize such a historical event. That's one woman's contribution to peace. She's not a war goddess, she's a peace goddess. And her name, Zhaojun, Wang Zhaojun, it's not her real name. It's like later people, historians would address such a outstanding lady for such a diplomatic, um, you know, I'm not sure if at a sacrifice, but it's of her personal relationship. But I guess it's better than just competing with so many women for one king. But then she is the wife of a tribe leader. She got supposedly full attention from that tribe leader. So, but her mission is accomplished, maintained peace for many years, and she was addressed as the bright ruler, 昭君, and 出塞 means going out of the fortress, beyond the fortress. That is the Nordic people's land. There we go. And here is the most famous fortress, the Great Wall in China. And that's what fortress is about. That's the civilization cut line. And yeah, eventually it becomes a scenery, becomes a historical reminder of how things used to be. And even if today we still have such invisible walls around. All right, so there you go. Site, fortress. Thank you for your time. See you another day.